Hello, my name is Mr. Chipman, and I teach biology and AP biology at Murray High School in Murray, Kentucky. This is 4.4 feedback, continuing Unit 4 cell communication, cell cycle. Feedback is definitely part of the communication portion of this, but feedback is a normal part of the cell cycle as well. And after we do cell cycle, you'll start to see those connections. Let's look at some feedback mechanisms. All right, there are two main feedback mechanisms: positive and negative feedback loops. These loops are responsible for many homeostatic functions. Remember, homeostasis is normal cell processes, normal body processes, norms. That is the key word with homeostasis: establishing norms, keeping norms. This could be at the cellular level, this could be at the molecular level, even this could be at the whole body, whole organism level. So let's look at these separately. First, let's look at the negative feedback loop. So the way that I define a negative feedback loop, it is a process in which the product of that process turns off the process. It's kind of wordy, right? You can think of it this way. Another way to think of it is where this process dampens or controls the original stimulus. It sort of brings the whole system back to the starting point. This picture is helpful, right? Where you have a stimulus, you have a sensor for that stimulus, you have the control mechanism, then the effector goes back and turns off the stimulus or resets it, right? And then let's make this work in a real world situation. Body temperature exceeds 37 degrees Celsius, which is our normal 98.6, right? The nerve cells in the skin and the brain, they're going to sense this. The skin is going to sense this. It's going to be like, wow, it's getting hot. Even the internal sensors of the body, it's getting hot. The brain's going to get that information and be like, you know what? I know exactly what to do. And it's going to send out a messenger to the sweat glands to release sweat, which is going to go back and turn and cool the body down to below 37 degrees Celsius or around that in order to keep the body at the norms, right? It's where the product of the process turns off the process. And so what would happen as a result of getting to 37 or below, sweating would stop, right? Let's look at some examples of this. We just did the body temperature thing, all right? Maybe I have another example. I do. Good. When the body gets cold, it's the same thing, right? When you walk outside and it's that first 40-degree day, you're going to shiver, or you're going to hold your arms like this in order to decrease your surface area to volume ratio, or decrease it so that your body holds more heat, right? Good. So let's look here. This is another example. This is a kidney thing. Okay, good. So when water level is in the blood, you have a certain amount of water level in the blood, and the amount of water in your blood is going to determine your blood pressure. When the water in your blood increases, the brain or the heart's the first person or first organ to recognize it. It's like, whoa, it's getting tight in here. And it's going to send a message to the brain. The brain's like, I know exactly what to do. The brain sends a message to the kidneys to release more water. So this is why when you drink that 20 ounce of water, and it doesn't go straight through you, rather, your body knows to get rid of 20 ounces, right, in order to keep your blood pressure at a normal. The opposite occurs when you have less fluid in you. Your blood pressure lowers, the heart recognizes a lower blood pressure, sends that to the brain. The brain tells the kidney to retain liquid, right, to make your urine more concentrated. This is an example of a negative feedback loop. A positive feedback loop is where the process or the product of the process makes the process happen more, right, where the control mechanism amplifies the original stimulus. The stampeding cattle is the way that I've understood this always, or the initial way that I got it, and I think it's a great way to teach it. A couple cows start running because they see something that spooks them. Another cow sees those cows running and starts running. The other cows see those cows running and start running, and eventually the cows are running because the cows are running. The original stimulus is lost in that, right? The cows are running because, well, the cows are running. And so how does this work in real life examples? Birth is a great example of this. So oxytocin is a hormone that causes the uterus to contract. This causes the baby to have less space, which causes the baby to push against the walls of the uterus and the cervix. The stretching of the uterus sends a brain impulse to the brain, which causes the brain to send a message back to the pituitary, which is part of the brain, to release oxytocin, which in turn causes the uterus to contract, which causes the stretching, which causes the brain to receive the information about the stretching, which causes the release of oxytocin, which causes the uterus to contract. This is a positive feedback mechanism. The product causes more of the process, right? With fruit, it's a great example. You've probably heard about putting a piece of fruit in a plastic bag or a paper bag, that it causes it to ripen. Why is that? Well, there's a gas that ripening fruit produces called ethylene. Ethylene causes fruit to ripen. And as it ripens, it produces more ethylene, which causes fruit to ripen. And so when you put it in a bag, you're decreasing the amount of area that gas can escape to, causing the fruit to be higher exposed to that ethylene, causing it to ripen even more. Let's look at a practice problem. Researcher, this is another FRQ. You need practice on FRQs. A researcher is studying two populations of mice. In one population, genetic mutation prevents pancreatic alpha cells from producing glucagon. Both populations are subjected to fasting for 12 hours. Glucagon is a hormone that causes the pancreas to release, it's a hormone that causes the cells in the body to release glucose. You probably need to know that in order to get this prompt correct. I should go back and add that. That's okay. Here we are. Predictile mutation will affect the blood glucose levels of the mutated mice compared to the wild-type mice after a 12-hour fast. Well, if the mutation prevents alpha cells from producing glucagon, then the blood glucose levels in the mutated mice will be lower, much lower, because they're not going to release the glucose. Explain why your prediction is biologically reasonable using an understanding of feedback mechanisms. Normally, the body responds to a low blood glucose by releasing glucose into the blood cells, but because those cells are mutated, that is no longer going to be able to happen. Describe one other biological process that is regulated by a positive feedback loop and identify a key hormone or molecule involved in that process. So another example, you don't have to know this, but another example is the production of lactate, or production of milk. When a baby nurses, it causes the brain to receive that signal, which causes the production of milk, which causes the baby to release more, or which causes the body to release more milk, which causes the baby to nurse more, which causes the brain to receive that signal. You get the idea. We'll see if that's the one he uses. This uses childbirth. You don't have to know specific examples. I should probably go back and modify this FRQ a little bit, but you get the idea. I hope this was helpful. We're going to be looking at cell cycle in 4.5 and 4.6.